Hello and welcome everybody to New Earth Consciousness. Tanya here with Nell Cardinal. She is a clinical EFT practitioner, licensed massage therapist, somatic facilitator, Reiki practitioner, and spiritual guide. And for nearly 2 decades, she's been helping people reconnect with themselves through approaches that honor the wisdom of the body, the nervous system, and the human spirit. So, Nell, thank you so much for being here. I'm excited to dive into this topic.
Thank you for having me. Lovely to be with you, Tanya. Yes, so clinical EFT, emotional freedom techniques, really including the somatic component because talk therapy can only take you so far. What I found was that stored survival stress in our body, tapping on these acupressure points was really what led to my own breakthroughs and freedoms. So now being able to share that with the world because truly I feel like it's freedom in your fingertips. This is a self-help tool that you can take on the go anywhere. You're just tapping on acupressure points to help slow down your fight, flight, freeze response, to slow down that amygdala to deactivate so that you can be more present, more grounded, more connected, and allowing us to process in real time those big feelings, emotions, thoughts, or sensations. And I would say negative emotions, feelings, thoughts, or sensations, because that's really where the stored survival stress comes in. If it's stuck in the body, you can't think your way out of feeling that. So just tapping on, sending that signal to the amygdala, tapping on that acupressure point, deactivating fight, flight, freeze. We are then more regulated. We are increasing our capacity to feel and able to just have a little bit more clarity through our daily life.
Yeah. So let's dive into your story a little bit. What led you to this practice and how did it become such, important part of your own healing journey?
So I was a recipient. My life kind of fell upside down when truth kind of came to the surface about my childhood abuse, if you will,
Mhm.
and uh, and somebody led me to a practitioner. And after about a year and a half or 2 years of tapping with my practitioner, she invited me into training. She was like, "You really understand the ins and outs of this. You've seen the benefits of it firsthand." Truly, I was living in a disassociated, disconnected state for a really long time in my life. And I didn't even know. And then again, with this somatic component to include mind and body to really get me embodied and feeling and safe to feel, it changed my world. And I use this for my children because I knew that the traditional system wasn't going to support them in what we were dealing with. And it really helped to regulate their nervous system and just shift what we needed to.
Wow. How young? I'm curious about your children. How young did you start working with them using it?
So my oldest was 3 at the time when we found tapping, and that's actually how what let me just back up just a little bit. That's actually what led us to finding tapping. We wanted to hold safe space for him. We wanted to help him process something that he had been through, and it turns out in order to sustain and help your children, you have to do the self-care work yourself first. So finding a practitioner for the kids, it ended up mom and dad needed to do their own self-developmental work, and holding that safe space and regulating my nervous system allowed me to hold space for him. And I still do tap on my kids, but it's more a practice that I include for myself and my clients.
Hmm. Wow, amazing. So what so for someone who's never heard of emotional freedom techniques, like how would you explain it? I mean, I know that you kind of said like, hey, we're tapping the nervous system, but there's, these acupressure points, but there's more to it than just that, right? Because you're you're naming things, you're using scripts. Like to me, it seems like it's multi-layered, right?
Certainly. So, yes, we're tapping on acupressure points. We're deactivating the amygdala. However, we are also rewiring the brain. So there are synapses in our mind. So, for example, I really worked on I'm a mean mommy and I don't want to yell anymore. So
Mm.
that pattern, that thought, that habit for me of I'm angry and then I yell, that's a really strong synapse in my mind. And so for over 38 years, I was a mean mommy yelling. Now, as we continue to tap, we are interrupting that thought pattern. So that synapse no longer has its stronghold, and eventually it's not ruling your life. It's not those emotions, those habits won't be running the show anymore.
Mhm.
We are also able to rewire, what do I want to say, positive thoughts. We're able to access new ways of thinking because as that thought pattern dies, now we're creating new conscious thinking, new ways, new synapses create to find conscious shifts, better shifts. You can now reach for something that wasn't available before because your emotion was constantly ruling and this habit was there. So, for example, everybody goes to the gym the new year
Mhm.
and we start out really strong and then X amount of days in and everybody loses that. Well, it's just because that synapse is so hardwired, that thought loop is there, that's what's running the show. So, over time, disintegrating that, it no longer has that stronghold over you and you're able to actually access the life and create the new habits that you do want to have in your world. Does
Mhm.
that answer that fully?
Yeah, definitely. So we're working with the thought patterns, we're working with the body
Yep.
and removing the negative patterns, replacing them with positive ones.
Yep.
Um, so I'm curious with this technique, and well, let me just share my experience because
Please.
you led me through it, right? Um, and it was really interesting. I think you asked me, and it really had to do with in the moment. Like you weren't asking me to pull up things from the past or anything. It's like, okay, what's alive in me right now? Like what am I noticing that I would like to shift? And I think what we worked on was that I find myself rushing around.
Mhm.
I think that's what I was like. I was like in this hurried state. And so we kind of tapped through that. Um, I don't recall what the words were that we went through, but you're going to lead us through a tapping sequence. But there definitely was like, okay, this anchoring in some statements and words. And I will say that I could definitely feel the energy changing in my body. Like it was definitely, I felt different. Um, when we talk about talk therapy, like, yeah, I agree with you totally. Like talk therapy only goes so far. Like, I mean, it's great to share your story and be heard and validated. That's great. That's part of, being human is to want is
Self-awareness is huge. It's a big piece of the puzzle.
right?
Yes. Yeah.
Connecting with another, being heard, being witnessed, all of that, like
Yeah.
it's essential. But if we want to get past that, then it's like, okay, well, we got to go a little bit deeper and see what's there and let's actually get rid of it. So when someone comes to you and they're wanting to um, deal with something, whatever it is, some negative loop,
Mm-hmm.
is it a one and done thing, or do you find that, okay, you've got this one negative loop, let's deconstruct it, whatever, and they
Yeah.
go through the process. Do you find it's like peeling an onion? Like, okay, they get rid of that first layer that they thought was so big, and it turns out like there's a big old gnarly tangled ball of
Nothing
yarn
behind it.
underneath.
Yes. Yes. Yes, you bring us some great points. So, yes, I want to just circle back on you never have to relive your trauma. You never have to relive your big, bad, scary. We are always keeping you anchored and grounded right here, right now, in the present moment with a real time event. We're going to tap on something that is very tangible that your nervous system feels safe to focus on. Because if we are going to tap on all the times I felt like a big, bad, mean mommy,
Mhm.
that's just going to blow my nervous system up. I'm going to feel terrible. But if I focus on just yelling at them yesterday, something very, very focused, my nervous system's capable of saying, okay, let's work on this feeling, this thought, this sensation right here, right now, keeping you regulated through that. And then additionally, yes, we want to work on the root of something. Typically, I find the sweet spot for people is about 5 to 7 sessions. So say you've had something that's long standing. Now, every person is different, but again, mean mommy, been doing that for 38 years. It's not just going to go away after a one-time thing. Now I've been tapping for for 4.5, 5 years. Mean Mommy, not the accessible like she was once was, but it takes consistency with tapping to build that capacity up in your nervous system. So yeah, actions on a specific goal, I would say, you'll start to see turnaround results.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah, I love that it's just again, you're not digging up big traumas, but working with what's happening right now in your life. And do you find that in that just dealing with the present day, easily accessible situations, that a person goes deeper into maybe more significant traumas or
So memories can come up. There's something called daisy chaining that, we're working on something that's present in your life, and you're accessing all the stored files of when this original feeling, thought, sensation happened. Now, the client is always empowered to choose what is right to do for them, because sometimes it is healthy to bring up that memory and tap on that memory. Sometimes there's different techniques that we can use to put it safely away. So again, you don't have to relive it. And can you just reframe the question you had for me?
yeah, let me see if I can draw it back
So
through
I was like, no, I wasn't quite
my
hitting on it. I got
my
distracted with
metapuzzle
everything about just
brain.
saying.
Um, yeah, do you as people, yeah, like does when you start with
The roots, we're working on the roots,
yeah, it's like when
memories.
yeah, like the memories, like does a person eventually get to a place where, well, I guess I'm curious about I mean, this is important, right? I mean, I'll just take myself as an example. I've done a lot of work on myself, and I'm very aware of places in my body that I just can't access,
Mm.
right?
Mhm.
Um, that are deep. Um, and it seems to me and correct me if I'm wrong, but well, I believe that if we can't access something, to me, it must mean that we're not ready to access it, that the body doesn't feel safe enough to like open it up and be like, okay, yeah, yeah, let's see what's here,
Yep.
right?
Yep. Yep. That is the word, safe. So safe space. So that is my biggest proponent with all of the work that I do, to ensure that your nervous system has that safe space, because it is a protective piece. It's kept that safe for you for so long. So there's all sorts of different reasons why that might need to be there or why it was there. So building rapport, how I wanted to connect with you at first and have that initial interview and then tell you what clinical EFT was. So you're learning my nervous system, and then slowly, safely, gently, we're continuing to build that capacity of trust, safe space for your nervous system to slowly let out little pockets of survival stress. And if you think of the nervous system like a swimming pool full of beach balls, it's like everyday life, we're just taking one more thing, we're putting, like, it's just a phone call, or it's just an interview, and putting that beach ball into that swimming pool. What happens? The nervous system blows up. But in a safe space, when you're working with this modality, we're slowly taking one beach ball at a time. We're not taking them all out. We're not going in there and throwing them all around. We're just focusing on one beach ball to take that out, to deflate that air and get it completely out of the nervous system. And again, after tapping session, after tapping session, those beach balls aren't filling that swimming pool, so that you have capacity to move around. Those emotions aren't ruling your everyday everything. And yeah, maybe the deeper buried beach balls of that not feeling safe, they'll come over time, is
Mhm.
how I have seen it happen.
I see, yeah. Do you mind sharing, maybe, keeping it anonymous, of a client that you've worked with and their journey, like where they started and
Mhm.
where did they end up after working with you?
Yeah, someone that comes to mind that's been working with me for a long-standing time, I would say crippling anxiety is the most common acceptable terms to share, whereas now leaving sessions laughing and interacting in life and enjoying life again, whereas before it was life wasn't really accessible to truly like just surviving the days and just from appointment to heal to fix. Whereas now back to work, back to social engagements and back to travel. So I'm getting like emotional thinking about it because it again it changed my world. I know firsthand, but to see somebody else come from a place of like living in bed, right? Or just living on the couch to thriving is really I mean, I love it. I love it. I love this so much because it changed my world and then to see it real time with other people.
Yeah, that's pretty
Yeah.
incredible because, you know, it seems to me that most people, when they're looking for help, I mean, they get a diagnosis and maybe they're put on drugs or
Hmm.
whatever, cognitive behavioral therapy, which I never really understood. I remember when in my 20s going through my own healing crisis and dealing with a tremendous amount of depression and anxiety. I remember the cognitive behavioral therapy approach, which was like basically like breaking, like it was like a worksheet. It was like, okay, if this comes up, what are different thoughts that you can think? And it didn't involve the body at all. Um, yeah, it didn't help me with my dissociated state,
Yeah.
my inability to be in my body.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. And for a lot of people with anxiety and something similar to what it sounds like you and I had to deal with when the safe space is living in your mind and people tell you to just think differently, it's not helpful. It's not at all helpful.
no, it's not. I mean, if anything, I mean, it just didn't make any sense. And I couldn't do it. I mean, really.
Right. Yeah. 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 So time and place for all things, all modalities. But I have just found that this gave me language. This gave me safe space. This gave me a reconnection to myself, self-awareness, noticing when I was disassociated, noticing body sensations. I was just high functioning, living in the world.
Hmm. Hmm.
Surviving, not knowing it, but slowly. I like to say it as almost if you think about like frozen chicken thawing out, like that's what it was for my nervous system. It just took some time. And if you rush frozen chicken, if you throw it in the pan while it's frozen, you're not going to get great results. So truly slow, safe, gentle is what our nervous system and our body needs to reconnect, to create that language, to have that safe space for yourself and learning trust in with a practitioner. That is what I've seen to be the best results for me and my clients.
Hmm. And so you said that this is also a really great tool to have in one's own pocket. And so I'm curious, um, let's say someone's finds themselves in a triggered state, like
Hmm.
whatever. They're
Yep.
crying, they're overwhelmed, they're having a bit of a meltdown for whatever reason. Is this tool effective for them to just kind of walk themselves through it to regulate themselves in that moment?
Yes. So if you just start tapping on any point for 2 minutes a day, you will notice a shift. And I can invite us into just to do orienting tapping right now, if
Yeah,
that
let's do it.
feels okay with you.
Mhm.
Yep. So,
Oh,
so this is something that you can do for yourself, but just simply tapping on the points that will help to regulate you. So we'll just start tapping on the top of the head. And I just want you to notice the tapping sound and the tapping sensation. And just imagining raindrops just washing away any thoughts that came before, anything that's happening after this, just washing down. And we'll come down to the eyebrow center. And while you're here, I just want you to notice the skin to skin sensation of fingertips to forehead. And just notice if the temperature is the same or different. Good. We'll come down to the side of the eyes. And I'll just invite you to gently part the lips just to further relax the jaw. Good. Moving under the eyes. Just bringing some focus and awareness all the way down to the stomach, the solar plexus, the gut. And if it helps, just to push out your belly so that you're no longer holding that grip. Good. Under the nose. See if there's any one scent that you can smell while you're here. If there's lotion or soap on your fingers, a pleasant scent in the room. Good. We'll move down to the chin. Giving the toes a little wiggle, just drawing some focus, energy, and awareness all the way down to the feet. Good. Down to the chest. It's 2 inches down from the collarbone. And I just want you to find one item to focus on and just notice it. If it has a color, a size, notice the shape. Good. And then we'll come under the arms. I'll just try to bring this down. Just women, if you wear a bra, it's on the bra line. Bring under the arms. And just in your mind or out loud, just saying, thank you, body, thank you, mind. Good. Typically, I would do that 2 times through, but just for demo and time's sake, we'll do just one. And then I'm going to invite you to what's called a hug hold. This is what I'm going to say is a go-to anytime. Tuck one hand up under the other and cross either holding the deltoid or the bicep and take a breath up in through the nose, filling up your lungs. And the long exhale is through the mouth. This would be my go-to where somebody's starting. If you're at a traffic light, if you're feeling dysregulated, if you have a big emotion, if somebody around you is activating you, get into hug hold because it is so simple just to calm the nervous system. You can focus on your breathing, but if you just stay in this for a few, I'd say about 30 seconds, you'll start to notice a shift.
Oh yeah, I feel it immediately.
Good. Good. So this is my go-to for anything and anyone. Even if you're out at a grocery store and they're, somebody's being unkind to the clerk, you will, just because of mirror neurons, you will help to regulate their nervous system and knock them out of their grump. So just a hug hold. Nobody needs to know what you're doing, or you can tell everyone.
Does it matter which hand?
No, it does not.
It really
Nope.
doesn't.
Nope. Because you're activating both meridians on both sides. So yeah, whatever feels most comfortable to you.
Amazing. Oh my gosh. Like, why don't they teach this in school?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I mean, for
We're
real.
trying.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Amazing. So just tapping on those daily with not necessarily like just as a sort of self-care. Like
Yes.
you don't have to know what to say or anything like that. You can just have your 2 minute, almost just like part of brushing your teeth. If one just started to do that, that they would start to notice
A
a
shift.
shift over time.
Yeah. And
Mhm.
I like to keep things slow, safe, and gentle and really small and really doable because I know where I was starting out and I see where some of my clients are starting out. So if homework is too overwhelming already to a maxed out nervous system, it's not going to get done. So that's why I say 2 minutes tapping before bed, just doing the hug hold in the car. These are simple practices that you can include to start to see a difference.
Mhm.
So you don't need the script. You can just tap on the points, even if you just keep your hand on your heart. If you just hold a tapping point,
Mhm.
you are benefiting your nervous system. It's that simple. Now, if you want to dive deeper and you want to go to get to the roots, yeah, you want to do more of a script and work with a practitioner to understand um, the setup statements to work to get to what your focus desire is.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So interesting. So, do you find that, say somebody comes to you and they are they come with a certain idea in mind, like, oh, this is what I want to work on. And do you find that this tapping process then uncover something that's deeper than what they originally came for? Like, does the trajectory, has it ever, you ever find it like
It
shifting?
can shift. Yes, it certainly can shift because again, we have those protective pieces and we can have only so much self-awareness before we're getting to other, let's say tentacles or other roots of it, right? But what I would say is what I notice more is the reverse. So like people will be like, actually, I need to work on this week, and I need to work on this week, and this, and it might be different. It might look different than their original goal,
Mhm.
but all roads lead to Rome.
Mhm.
So we're
Mhm.
still working on what we need to. But the body is wise. And as we just start peeling back those layers to feel safe enough, we can shift and pivot as needed. So yes, sometimes it happens, but not always.
I'm really curious to ask about the effect this would have on relationships, let's say.
Mhm.
If somebody's struggling with their partner, let's
Yeah.
say for whatever reason, certain things that their partner does triggers them, and they just find themselves kind of in this locked, like nothing's moving in the relationship. It's just like these certain areas are super stuck. If do you think it's best if both partners?
Great. Yes. Can you get both couples in here? I typically am working with one couple is what
Okay.
I've really
Well,
found.
I wonder, so I am super curious though, like if one partner's doing the work, they're
Yes.
like, and let's say the other partner, I mean, God bless the men, but I find that men in general are not, I don't know if it's
Leading the charge.
pride. I don't know if it's
Yeah, they're
pride.
not leading.
They don't want to make themselves vulnerable. They don't want to feel like they need anything. And so typically I find it's always the women like doing this kind of work. But when, I mean, there's something profound here because you said earlier, you're like, oh, mirror neurons, right? Like being in the grocery store and doing the hold, and you're
Mhm.
literally your energy field
Mhm.
is impacted.
Mhm.
So I'm curious if you've seen anything, if anybody's reported back to you about like since they started working with you, like that their relationships have changed or they've had an impact on their partner or, things like that.
So I'll say the number one thing is creating our capacity to tolerate whatever the thing is that feels stuck, right? And then to your point with mirror neurons. So as I shift and change, right? And that thing, like specifically I have worked on with someone about their partner's breathing, right? Like I can't stand the way they breathe, right?
Oh, that's tough. I mean, that's
Yes, it's a
unavoidable.
constant thing. But we went from a 10 to a 2 and it's tolerable and it's doable. And now I can say something without being snarky or I can say like I need a break or you know what I mean? It's not as triggering to their system anymore. So they're able to show up different in that dynamic. So that relationship has already shifted.
Mhm.
So then that partner is also going to shift their behavior because they're not feeling this energy of like, stop breathing. So yes, does it impact the relationship? 100%, 100%. And again, you gonna stay in a hug hold is gonna let your partner know like I'm feeling a little activated or I'm just holding this safe space because I'm noticing I'm gently loving you from afar and seeing. So it really does start to take a new shape in the relationship. Yes. I haven't heard yet of the negative of someone being like, stop doing that. Only because these couples they have self-awareness and they want to improve connection, communication, and relationship.
Mhm.
Does that feel like it fully covers?
Yeah, totally. I mean, I can see where, um, let's say there's a certain argument that's always happening, and you tap
Yes.
on what that particular argument's about.
Yes.
And let's say the situation comes up again, and you're not having the same response or reaction.
Yep.
Maybe you're calmer, maybe you don't have any reaction at all. You're just like, "Hmm, okay." The partner may notice, like, oh, wait a minute, what just happened?
Yep.
And
There's a
almost kind of
shift.
there's a
Yeah.
shift and
And they
maybe
can't
something
play
else
out the
will be said.
same they
Yeah,
can't play out the same dynamic anymore because if you're not available to have that conversation, it's a one-sided conversation. So you're just holding that safe space for them until they're regulated or ready to change the dialogue.
yeah. And I'm curious, so we're talking a lot about emotions. What about, can you tap for physical symptoms?
Yes, absolutely. Pain. Yep.
Yeah.
100%. And I have found it can come at it from 2 points. So men, it's easier to tap on pain than emotions. And women, especially me and a lot of clients who disassociate easier,
Mhm.
um, being in the body was too much. So there's other methods that you can use that are more distractive to get into the physical body eventually. But yes, absolutely, we can tap on a frozen shoulder, a stiff neck, etc. And yeah.
Mm-hmm. Interesting. Um, I'm curious about the physical pain. Do you discover then that there's an emotional, like, do people have emotional releases? Because I mean,
So
I,
the pain, sorry, go ahead.
oh, well, I'll just share like my story. And it wasn't tapping, but it was, massage, let's say. And I was like, yeah, can you focus on my hips? They're really sore. And so she's digging in and I'm feeling it, whatever. And then she said, okay, I just want you to bring your awareness fully there, like really go inside. And I was like, okay. So I did that and I just burst into tears.
Mm.
'Cause, it was like I was, locking away this grief that I had it was just stuffing it away. Had she not brought my awareness to that, I wouldn't have felt the emotion. Like maybe physically I might have felt better just from the physical manipulation, but I don't know if it would have released the emotion. So I'm curious, like, if somebody's tapping on frozen shoulder, let's say,
Yep.
and the shoulder then is able to release, like, yeah, the emotions come and then you tap through that. I mean,
Yes,
yeah.
yes, 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 yes. But not always, because we're not always ready to get to that emotion, right? So slow, safe, gentle, what the body is ready to release. And there might be different words that we're framing, like, oh, I'm just really, that conversation with my boss today just really got to me, instead of saying like I'm aggravated or I'm frustrated. So there's more of a dialogue rather than a set emotion. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Um, see, I'm looking through my questions here. I think we might have covered a lot of them already. Um, I'm curious about, I've seen some, practitioners tap on, like, guide people through tapping on, let's say, like money beliefs and stuff like that. People that want to make, attract more money in their life or rid of the scarcity mindset. Now,
Mhm.
those kind of programs or whatever is, well, let me ask this. So typically I've seen them as group programs. Like, okay,
Mhm.
everybody, we're going to tap on this, and the person's just doing the script and the
Yeah.
people are following along. It would seem to me that that wouldn't be as effective as working with somebody one-on-one and really tapping into someone's specific limiting beliefs, let's say.
Mhm.
I mean, what are your thoughts about that when it comes to
So
group
I
programs?
have been in group tapping sessions, excuse me.
Mhm.
And there are borrowed benefits from being in the group. And again, back to those mirror neurons. So you're still going to get results. Now, to back up the fact of saying what is necessarily best or better,
Yeah.
I do believe, it's my belief that one-on-one would be so much more direct. That's not to negate that group tapping doesn't have
Mhm.
its time and place.
Yeah, I was curious if it is effective to do it in group. So
Yes,
yeah.
absolutely. Yep.
Mm.
Again, because it's like it just in group tapping, you're reducing cortisol by 43% after 1 hour of tapping. So
Interesting.
100%. Yeah, yeah. If you get to get into a group, and you can, because it can be more affordable that way too, or whatever it is, if it's more accessible to you, just start tapping. Absolutely. And again, you're creating connection, and how else are we going to heal?
Yeah,
Um,
yeah,
but the one-on-one is, certainly straight shot. So it's getting to your specific roots. Yeah.
yeah. So what do you have as offerings currently?
So right now I do a free community call every Thursday at 9 a.m. Anyone Eastern Standard Time, you can just pop on. It's 30 minutes of tapping just to get consistency, community clarity, just for everybody to get a little bite size of what it can be, and get that into their routine.
Hmm.
I do one-on-one free consults if anybody wants to know a deeper dive of this. And yeah, I work on one-on-one. And right now I don't have any groups running, but I do offer groups as well.
Hmm. Amazing. And tell us your website.
It's nellsacredsanctuary.com.
Okay, great. And so for um my last question, if there was one thing you hope every person leaves with after working with you, what would it be?
It would be tap and drive. It would
Tap and
be,
drive. You know what?
yes.
This is something God, I wish I could get my oldest son to like do because he has the worst road rage. It is so bad. Like I'm embarrassed to get in the car with him because he just has a very low tolerance for bad drivers, and it's just, oh my
He's
goodness.
not the only one. He's not the only one. No way.
Oh
And
my
again, we're all dysregulated. We're all
God.
out there, and then you're like just like automatically driving. So if you can just put one hand on the steering wheel and tapping under the arm or tapping on the chest or wherever your sweet spot is, just tap and drive. If you can give that to yourself, we are making a better world for yourself and everyone around you, I promise.
Oh, Lord have mercy. Yeah, beautiful. Awesome. Nell, this has been really great. Thank you so much. Powerful stuff. Powerful stuff.
Pure pleasure. Pure pleasure. Thank you for offering it. Thank you for doing it. I really do want this in everyone's hands. So thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Yeah. All right. Take care, everybody. Be sure and check out her website. Links are in the comments. And Nell, you'll send me that Zoom link so people can also access that free call that you're hosting monthly. And
Certainly.
sounds great. Okay.
Okay.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.